So, I did not interrupt because I think you were in a deep conversation and we are live. So I'll just start. Yes, we are. And just give me a moment. I'm just looking at the YouTube, the page. Yes, we are live. Yes. So welcome everyone to another exciting stream. Today we have a truly special guest. Someone whose voice, words, and music have inspired countless listeners over the years. He is a poet, a storyteller, and one of the most legendary voices in Indian rock. You know him as the former frontman of Motherjane, the mastermind behind the Tatwa Trip, and an artist whose music goes beyond just sound. It carries meaning, depth, and philosophy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Suraj Mani sir. Thank you, sir, for coming on the stream, and we are so delighted, so happy to have you. Tonight, we are diving deep into his journey, his transition from Mother Jane to his solo work, his unique approach to songwriting, and the stories behind his powerful music. And of course, we'll have some fun along the way with a music quiz and some unexpected twist. If you are watching live, don't forget to drop your questions in the chat. We'll try to get them answered. Now let's get started. Along with the legendary Suraj Mani, we also have a very special guest joining us, Eshitadi. She's not just an incredible singer, but also a true admirer of music. So, like before the stream, Eshitadi said like she does not do music, but at that time I did not interrupt, and she's a very amazing singer, sir. I've known her since my school days, and she's been one of the biggest influences in shaping my musical taste, introducing me to such great music over the years. So tonight, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome both Suraj sir and Ishitadi to the stream. It's going to be an amazing conversation filled with stories, insights, and of course, a lot of fun. Let's get started. So, Ishitadi, over to you, please.
Thank you so much for everything you do. Suraj sir, I can hardly believe I'm sharing this virtual space with you today. It feels so surreal. From the first time I listened to Insane Biography and experienced Maktub to the personal and heartfelt tracks on Rinse and Repeat, it has been a joy witnessing a musical journey. It's an absolute honor to be in the presence of an icon like you. Thank you for being here with us today and
Oh,
giving
you're
us this
welcome.
opportunity.
You're welcome.
So, sir, everyone has their origin story. So we would like to, start our, Q&A. I think we will keep taking questions, and we will also have the fun activity. And we would like to
Okay.
have more and more questions answered, and we would like to know more about you. So the first question that we want to, want an answer for is, we would like to know more about your origins and early influences. We read on Wikipedia that you were born in Nigeria. Is that true?
That is true,
Uh, could
yes.
you share could you share how your upbringing, education, and early musical experiences shaped your journey as an Indian rock musician singing in English? How did you navigate cultural expectations while developing your unique artistic voice? And I'm asking literally and figuratively. So,
It's interesting. The fact is that I was born in Nigeria and I did come here when I was about 8 years old. And my parents were still in Nigeria at that time. So I was transitioning. So I stayed with my cousins for some time. And that is actually a very defining thing in my this thing. I learned how to speak Malayalam, obviously. But the first times I spoke it, all my cousins would laugh at me, right? So I think I had a certain fear in me about Malayalam, and in school I took Hindi as a third language. I didn't know any of the Indian languages, so I took Hindi, and then I went to the eighth standard. Or in the ninth standard, I switched back to Malayalam because I realized that by that time I could speak Malayalam. But wrote and learned Malayalam properly only in the ninth and tenth. Now that's one of the reasons why I don't actually write songs in Malayalam,
Okay.
because
yeah.
somewhere in the back of my mind I was made fun of when I actually spoke, my first words of Malayalam. And obviously I'm coming from a different place and all that, but these are the things. Sometimes your childhood experiences sometimes influence what you do so much more later. But I thought in English when I came to India. English was my language, and I would translate whatever I was thinking into Malayalam, for example. So I've always thought in English, and my writing is definitely very personal. I mean, I am very honest with what I'm writing. I'm actually a little shy. I know a lot of people don't believe that anymore, but actually I was very shy when I was in school. I mean, some of my schoolmates cannot believe that Suraj Mani is the person who's standing on stage painting his face and screaming rock songs or whatever
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, so but I was very shy, and very peculiarly, while I'm very personal, I keep my personal life to myself. I will stand on a stage and I will talk about almost anything under the sun. And I don't know why I do that, but I will reveal all when I'm standing on a stage, because I get to use music while doing that. I can talk about things in metaphors, and I understand that even if my situations are different, my audience shares the same emotions. I mean, you've cried, you've laughed, you've fallen in love, you've fallen out of love, you've been betrayed, you've been, rescued, whatever. All these feelings are so common to all of us. And so to get on stage and to share that and feel part of a group, that is something beautiful that I actually am so grateful for.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. We also wanted to know who were your early, influences, and how did you find your voice, like as a vocalist? Because
Right.
when we hear you, you just stand amongst those great vocalists that we have been hearing like all around the world. You just stand among those global vocalists. So how did you find that voice? How
All right.
did you
Yes.
have any influences in the family? Were you introduced to some bands or musicians that you looked up to?
No, not really. A lot of people in my family sing. My dad's side of the family, everybody sings, and everybody sings well. But we never learned music in that sense. Everybody just had a good ear for the whole thing, and I never really listened to too much music when I was a kid. And when I was in the eighth standard, I was actually one of somebody forgot two cassettes in my home during the summer holidays.
Oh.
One was the best of Beatles, a collection of songs, and another one was Country Gold or something like that. And I was free. It was summer holidays, and I started listening to music, and I fell in love with that. Those two cassettes itself, and that's when I started listening to music. And from then onwards, I got into a lot of pop. The transition happens like that. I got into engineering college. When I was in engineering college, I got into exposed to a lot more hard rock bands and stuff, and a little bit of metal and all those things. But I have never learned music. I have never. I got ragged in engineering college, and somebody asked me to sing, and I sang. And they said, "Hey, you sing well," and I said, "Oh, bloody hell!" And that's how I started my singing. So for 2 years, nobody at home knew that I would sing because I was very shy. So how do you suddenly walk up and say, "By the way, I'm a rock star"? Types, in my home, you'll get murdered if you come with, high illusions of who you are. So I kept quiet for about it for 2 years, and then we went to a friend's place. She was a junior, and so her mom was making tea for my dad, my sisters, and everybody. And she said, "I heard you're a very big singer in college." And my dad almost dropped his coffee. He said, "What?" And well, then they knew. And then from then onwards, I just kept listening to all kinds of music, and I loved music. I mean, with a passion. And when I finally joined Motherjane, the most interesting thing was that I initially joined them. They were a cover band actually. They were just a college band which was doing a whole bunch of covers, and they asked me to join. I joined. Within about 15 days of joining, I was ready to quit because I was having to learn all these songs. I was working. I was, uh, there was just too much on my plate. And I actually called a band meeting where I said, you know what, as exit lines, I was saying that, we are singing Iron Maiden today, and 10 years from now, a whole another bunch of kids will sing it with much more energy than we would, and there wouldn't be any relevance to us. And so I said, if we were writing our own music, then it would make sense. And then Baiju said, then let's make our own songs. So I was like, whoa, okay, I didn't expect that to happen. But then we got together and we started making music. Now I'm going to cut to a little bit of advice that one of my friends gave me. Now, by that time, I loved bands like Queen. I mean, Freddie Mercury was and I actually can do a possible version of Freddie Mercury for many of their songs, and a lot of hard rock stuff and stuff like that, etc. But my friend told me something that was very, very critical. He said, "You may sing a certain artist well, and you may do it really well also, but when you're making your own music, sometimes something else will come out." And he says, "Allow that to be. Don't try and be
Mhm.
somebody else." He says, "Whatever is coming to you naturally, just be that. Stop. Don't try to be anybody else." I took those words to heart, and I never bothered to actually try to sound like anybody else. For me, I look at a lyric, it means something to me. I try and just capture the meaning of the emotion of that word. I try and capture it in some kind of a melody, because if you have an emotion and if you have a melody together, then that's like you're sealing it into somebody's heart, man, because you're feeling it and you're singing it, and they've people feel what you feel as an artist. This is something that I want to tell every kind of artist, whether you're playing a instrument, or whether you're singing, whether you're composing. What you feel is what you transfer to your audience. So my most valuable advice is that as an artist, feel. Don't be afraid to feel. Open up your heart and feel, pour it out. When you do that, people will know that you're being honest. And some people will love you for it. Some people will hate you for it, but doesn't matter. It's the people that love you, and because you're doing what you're supposed to do, they are the ones that matter. And if you can't go to a place, you can't take anybody else with you as an artist. If you can't go to a place, you can't take your audience there with you. So feel and pour yourself into whatever you do.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Saurabh and I, we were talking about, finding that authenticity, as an artist in today's world. And this just makes so much sense and wonderful advice for our, audience. You talked about college and Mother Jane. It's just a perfect transition to our next question. Wanted to talk about Mother Jane next. So, Mother Jane's journey to becoming one of India's most influential rock bands is fascinating. Can you just take us through the evolution of your signature sound? Was it deliberate or did it develop organically as the band grew? Also, we are curious about the band's identity. How did you settle on the name Mother Jane and decide on the themes you wanted to explore in your music?
Okay, so the band was named even before I joined. It was even named by somebody who was not even part of the band. This was a college band,
Oh,
and yeah, it was a college band, and they were doing some show, and they didn't have a band name. And the legend has it that one guy called, I don't even know what his name. I think it's Jitin or Jibin or somebody. He walked into the room, and they were saying, "What do we call the band?" And he said, "Call it Mother Jane," and he walked out of the room. And that's how the band got that name. Yeah, so that's the name
but
of.
you guys stuck with it,
I was
so
not
you
even
must
in
have
the
liked
band at
it.
that point of time. I was not even in the band. I joined
Hmm.
4 years later, and so when I joined, they were already a band. But like I said, they were doing a lot of cover songs. It was, they were doing Iron Maiden, they were doing Purple, they were doing uh, Megadeth and stuff and all like that. So that was, but for me, that's not Mother Jane in the sense that, I mean, today people in India do not know us because we did covers of these songs. People know us because of the songs that we wrote and the original music that we created.
Yeah.
So and how did that happen? Well, in some senses, and this I think is good advice for anybody who is in a band. Uh, it may not work for you, but here's one thing that I think helped us a lot. When we would sit with a song, for example, if I had a lyric or something, I would say that, listen, this is the theme of the song, right? And now I'm going to write about what I feel here, and I'm also going to sing about what I'm feeling here. You should use your instrument to talk about the same topic. Like if I'm talking about something that is happy, we don't want you to come up with a brilliant, musical thing that is sad. That's a different song. Yeah, just because the progression is fantastic, just because it makes musical sense, it is CFG and you can do something in CFG. No, that's not the point. If I'm talking about something happy, you should also be talking about something happy. All of us should talk about the same topic using our instruments or whatever our art is. That way, it will sound like a conversation between four or five different friends, and it will make sense to people because it's the same topic. You know, what happens
Yeah.
to a lot of bands is that somebody will come and say, "Oh, I've got this riff, and it'll be a fantastic riff," and the next guy will say, "And I've got okay, so I also got this melody," and then they try and stitch together two or three different songs into one song, and somehow it just doesn't make sense. That's because what you really have is an opportunity to make three songs, but you should actually
Yeah.
take each one of these things and develop it into its own thing. So we kind of hit upon that. It was an understanding that we're all going to have a conversation about what is a common topic, and we're going to use our own instruments, our own influences, and where we come from, and put it into that kind of a song. So the song became the hero for us, and our styles just assisted that hero.
Yeah. Sorry, you want to take the next one?
Yes, yes. So before we move further, I want to read chat. So Monmi Fukon is with us, and she said ki like Ashita is on mute, but it was my mistake. So I just, but now you are not. Everyone is audible. So hello Monmi for joining us, and yeah. So moving further, I have a very important question because as a musician, I always wanted to know. Just let me check before. Yes, yeah. So I always wanted to know that how bands, as a band, you produced music. Like the
Right.
Maktu, what was the process behind the production? Because right now, like the technology has changed a lot. Like we have,
Immensely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know your process of production, like what you did while you were producing Maktub. Like who were the key people involved? Like who were the engineers and producer? Like technology you used. I want to know the details of it. Like what were the logistics involved? Like how like, you recorded it together. Like some parts were there, what were recorded together, or you did it individually. What was the kind of technology you used?
So we composed the songs together, played them all live, and once we had ironed out the kinks in all the songs, we got into the studio.
Okay.
So even when we were recording Maktub and stuff, even in its insane biography, it was already multi-track recording. There was no point in actually doing a very huge studio recording. So we were already doing multi-track recording, and so it pretty much went in down that path. The peculiar thing is that insane biography, I only sang backing tracks. I
Okay.
mean, the first, you have to put something together first, right? So we had to actually put the song together. So somebody played an acoustic guitar, and I sang
Oh.
the vocal melody.
Okay.
And after that, they tracked the drums, the bass, this thing, that thing, and then we went broke. And then
Oh.
we recorded for 6 days, went broke, saved money for another 6 months, and then recorded for another 3 days and went broke again.
Oh my God.
And then another 3 months later, we had enough money to send it for mastering. I didn't even do a vocal take for Insane Biography. It was just my rough, whatever initial take that was there.
Oh my
That was
God.
all that was used. In Maktub, okay, I was a little more fortunate because they put the tracks together, but again, not the entire tracks. But I would say that a lot of credit is actually due to the band itself because the band was critically involved in all these things. Now, I'm not a guy who sits in the studio and tries to produce stuff or anything like that. I It doesn't interest me actually.
Okay.
Okay, the people in our band who were actually very interested in it were Baiju and Deepu, and so I would think to a large degree, a lot of the recording went because was driven by Baiju. Like I told him, I said, "You do what you like. I mean, I'm whatever you do. is going to be better than whatever I'm going to suggest. So you just go ahead and do it. I'll tell you if I have any major problems. Otherwise, you have my full support types of things. I would credit him to a large extent to for the work that happened on Inside Biography and Maktub. In Inside Biography, Rex Vijayan was also involved to a very
Okay.
large extent. And he also had a lot of influence in what we did in the studio. So it was always, Mother Jane has always been a band that's been influenced by the musicians itself. We had sound engineers and obviously people like Gopi who worked with us on Maktub, who helped in a big degree. But I would say that the band has been always very in control of the
Okay.
process. And that's also happening in the new songs that we're recording.
Okay.
Again, Baiju and Deepu are taking the forefront of, production, sounds, decisions, and stuff like that. I just sing, I write and sing.
Oh, nice. That's really nice.
Write, sing, and compose whatever I feel is a melody that's required for a song. Yeah.
That's awesome. So before we move further, we have a question from Monmi. She's asking like, what inspires your metaphors?
Where I think it's because I'm shy. Like I said, I want to actually reveal a lot of things, and I have a lot of troubles in my life, and I want to actually make sense of them. But using metaphors allows me to do that without really revealing a very personal side of what it is. So I'm singing about the feelings with all my things, with all my heart, but I'm couching it in a lot of metaphors so that it also resonates with a lot of people.
Okay.
And I think that also comes from the fact that when I was young, I was heavily into Zen. I used to read a lot of Zen philosophy and Osho, and a lot of the Eastern philosophies kind of influenced me. So this whole thing of the whole Indian thing that everything is Maya, everything is perception. You start realizing that a lot of what we think is life is actually our opinion on what it is. It's not actually the end all of most of us are most of the time talking of our opinions. We're not actually talking about facts. And so when two people who are talking about opinions meet, sometimes you have very interesting clashes, sometimes you have very interesting conversations. So I try and write stuff so that I put symbols, and symbols then become open to interpretation. And the depth of the topic can be largely determined by the depth of the person who is into the topic. Like, for example, there's a story that Osho once told about some tribe somewhere in some desert. They had a book, it was a holy book. And whenever they had troubles, they would actually go, they had a major, this thing, they would have a ceremony and they would open the book and the answers would come from it. But he said the interesting thing is that an entire book, that huge book, was an empty book. It was just empty pages. Whenever they had trouble, they would do this entire ceremony and open an empty book.
Okay.
And somehow they would have an answer for what they need. I think that kind of metaphor is what I love, because it just leaves so much to our imagination. And I think imagination is such a beautiful thing. If you
True.
allow yourself to just go for it, you can do almost anything.
Right. It's very similar to that Kung Fu Panda first part in which that scroll is there.
The scroll.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct, correct, correct.
So Monmi is saying it's very relatable. That's what I thought. And if you remember Nanu, he's also with us. He's saying big
Of
fan, sir.
course. He was a young boy when I saw him
Yeah,
last
yeah.
time.
He's appearing for his 12th boards now.
Oh, wow.
That was very insightful. Ashtati?
Yeah, I mean, I think you are not giving yourself enough credit. We believe that you are very open as an artist, sharing, what your inspirations and, themes and motifs are, in your songs. If you go to your website, we have, themes listed down for each and every song. No artist does that. In this world where people are more and more elusive about what they are creating and where the inspiration comes from, thank you so much for opening your heart and sharing this with the entire world and with the people who follow your music and who get inspired by you. So thank you so much for
You're
that.
welcome. I actually love. I've thought about this for a long, hard time, and for me, I think my biggest joy is probably actually speaking about the song before delivering the song, because it gives so much more context to the song. If you can actually put out a story, again, you're giving your audience so many tools to actually appreciate it on so many different levels. And by the time you finish the song, it means so much more to them because they're connecting it with their own lives, right? And
Yeah.
so if you just say that, okay, this is my experience, but okay, here it is, this is why I wrote it, in their minds, they're beginning to connect that, yes, I've had something similar to that. Yes, I felt the same way. And so you actually end up actually connecting with so many more people when you keep yourself out of it. I mean, sometimes it is great when you pour or when you make it very topical, that it is me, I'm talking about just me. But then you lose out a lot of people when you should keep a door open for everybody to walk inside.
That's really wonderful of you. We were talking about metaphors and lyrics and songs, so I think it's a good transition to the next one. You're a masterful songwriter, and your signature being the perfect mix of deeply poetic, thought-provoking lyrics and compelling melodies. How do you approach the songwriting process, from inspiration to lyrics to composition? Do you have any specific frameworks, methods, exercises that can help aspiring songwriters improve their craft?
Yeah.
So, this is something that our audiences would love to hear about because it's really, really complicated for most of them.
No, I have something which is very simple, which I would like to actually tell you guys. Two quotes, which will be very important to you, is two lines actually. Creativity is about allowing yourselves to make mistakes. Art is knowing which ones to keep, right? A lot of
Yeah.
artists, when they start, are already worried. They're already editing before they even start writing or before they start composing. They do a one line, second line, then they start editing and they start thinking about it. And then I did this, that's why I know it doesn't work. Yeah, I used to try and write two lines when I was in college. I'd write two lines, four lines, and then by the time I'm writing the fifth line, I'm looking at the first two lines and saying, shit, man, this is crap. I should be writing something much more better than this. And I never could write. But so somewhere across in my path, before I started writing, I read this book. I think it was called The Artist's Way, and I think the author was somebody called Julia Cameron. But anyway, it was a book about how to actually open up your creative thinking, and it's called The Artist's Way. That much I'm sure of. And there is this quote in that. I found this quote to be so powerful. Creativity is about allowing yourselves to make mistakes, and art is about knowing which ones to keep.
Right.
So I just go for, most of the time, I just go for something, and I'll try it. And if it's not nice, I'll try something else. There's no tension involved in the whole thing. The moment you remove that fear out of it, you start becoming a lot more creative as a person. Now, this is one thing that I want. And the second thing that specifically appealed to me is a movie that I called Finding Forrester. It's got Sean Connery in it. And Sean Connery is this big, uh,
Yeah.
he's an author.
He played. Are you talking about Sean Connery who played Bond?
Yes, that guy. But he was
Ah,
much older in this movie, and he's an author. And there is this black kid who actually comes to his house, and he starts teaching him how to write. And he gave a piece of advice which I took to heart. And he said that write. He said, first just write. Do not polish, do not think, do not just think of something and write everything that you can think about it. Write it down, finish it. In the end, he says, after you finish writing it, then you start editing. So these are the two things which I found to be the most useful to me. First, allow yourself to make mistakes, then keep what you want. Edit after you first finish pouring it. Like if you're going to, I mean, pick a topic. Just pick any topic right now. Tell me something you're feeling currently in your life.
Nervous.
Nervous. Okay, let's talk about nervous. Now, here's the point. Anybody who can hold a conversation can actually write a song. If you make it as simple as that, you can. Now, why are you feeling nervous? Now you're just going to explore. Now, if I'm going to just talk about the things that make me feel nervous, you say, oh, I've got butterflies in my stomach, and I'm feeling a little dry throated, and I'm about to step on the stage, and I know the entire world is looking at me, and I don't know whether I'll be enough, but I have to do this. You can see I'm already just going for it, right? I'm not even planning anything. And I'm saying that it doesn't matter. I have to do this because whoever is watching this program now, they need to know that I've been here before, and they need to know that a million billion other people have gone through this in the past, and a billion zillion people will go through the same emotion in the future. You all need to know that you're not all alone. You are never alone. You're part of this beautiful thing called humanity. So stand up there, stand straight, and sing with your heart open. Sing about everything that you dream and wish and hope for. Make this world a beautiful place by being beautiful and allowing yourself to be beautiful. See, I've already got this much stuff,
Yeah.
right? Now I can look at it and start saying, okay, let me write this. Let me put some rhyming melodies here. Let me pick the sentences that I really like that I said. And from there, I've got a song.
Amazing. Like this is this is really
You make it all sound so easy,
see
sir.
exactly.
Thank you so much for that quick masterclass.
No, no, no. See, I have a big, and this is something that I have come up with myself, though I'm sure it's not an original thought. But a good teacher is somebody who will shine light on a subject or in a room, and you will see the objects in the room. A bad teacher will shine lights into a room, and you'll see the shadows bigger than the objects.
Hmm.
Yeah. The point is, it is actually quite simple. Like I said, if you both are doing a conversation with me, I can already tell that you can talk, right? It's not something that is beyond you. Your language is much better than the average person. You can talk. You don't have any difficulty. You have an intelligent mind going. So pick a topic and start writing about it, and then start polishing later. First, make the furniture and then apply the polish. A
Right.
lot of people will take a little bit of the wood and already start polishes. So you get a lot of production values and very little furniture. A lot of songs in today's world has actually started suffering from that. Like in the past, when they used to
Yeah.
make these old Hindi songs and all that, every entire orchestra is sitting in one space. There's no multi-tracking, nothing like that. But they got it to some level and they just went for it. The songs itself are beautiful, right? Because they focused on making the song beautiful. Nowadays, it's like, okay, the song is not good, so let's make the production great. But you
Mm-hmm.
now have so many things where the furniture is forgotten and just polish. You just see polish, 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 polish. So you don't know whether you can sit on the bloody thing or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Sir, we got a sneak peek of a guitar when we were, sort of mic testing for the live stream. Can we, uh, request you to play something,
Yeah.
anything?
Sure,
Yes.
sure, sure. What do you want me to play? I mean, uh,
I mean, anything that you're in mood for right now,
all right. So
this evening.
I think I should do my Motherjane has actually gotten back together. I have gotten back together with Motherjane this last year in 2023, and we started writing some new songs. So I think I'll play a little bit of one of the new songs that we're making. We've made. It's a
Uh,
song called "Hope," and shall I tell you the story before I sing? Because then you start making songs.
sure.
Whatever I told you right
Absolutely.
now will
Yes,
make
yes,
sense
yes.
accordingly. So we're sitting together and say, hey, we have to make some new songs, and then Baiju starts playing some chords or another thing, and he plays some chords, and I sang the first two lines just like that. Okay. And then we stopped there, and I was like, wow, this makes me think of Kerala. It makes me think of home. And I'm thinking that, okay, maybe I should write a song about home. And so the next thing I do is I'm sitting there with Deepu, and Deepu is a musician who has lived in Dubai for maybe 10 years or so. He was in 1380 and he was with them for 10 years. So I said, Deepu, you've lived abroad. How did it feel, you know, when you thought about coming home? And so Deepu said, oh man, he said the first 6 months is very exciting because you've just got your contract, you're there, you're feeling, full chuffed about the whole thing. And then he says, after 6 months, you start counting. You start, oh, in another 6 months I can go home types, contract is going to be 11 months, whatever. So then he says, and then you start counting the third month, you start counting again. Then he said, you start counting it in weeks. Then he
Great.
said, you start counting it in days. And then he says, some days when you're coming back from your workplace, instead of going straight home, you'll drive by the airport and watch some planes, going home. And I was like, wow, that is a great, that has so much emotion in it. And I actually picked that and I made it into a song. So I wrote the lyrics for this song called Home. I'll sing maybe a little bit of it, and you can tell me when to stop.
I'll
So it
We'll
goes
just.
never
like,
ask you to stop.
all right, it goes like this. It is you. See? Traffic. No, that's
What
okay.
happened?
That's fine. The traffic actually came in there. Anyway, the horn section. All right, so here it goes. It is you. It is me. We have grown around these fields. Close my eyes in a room in the sky till I'm no longer in a different country. I think of home. It's you saved up my fare to cross the big blue. I pinch myself. It's true, I'm counting down to you. 11 months, turn to 6, down to 3, that's 90 days. Somewhere at 8, I sense it in weeks. Watching planes that leave this place. I think of home. It's you saved up my fare to cross the big blue. I pinch myself. It's true, I'm counting down to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So this is from your upcoming album.
This is from our upcoming album. We've made 5 new songs already, and
Nice,
we have a song
nice.
called Home. We have a song called Paint. We have a song called Gaudy Guard. We have a song called Mahabali, which actually Motherjane has Motherjaneized. I gave it to Baiju. He made it.
Oh,
He put the sound inside there.
very nice. I love the
And
song.
plus, we have a song called "Do Good, Don't Be Nice."
So the whole thing is under production.
We have kind of recorded 4 of them already.
Okay.
So yeah,
Nice, nice,
it's in that
amazing.
space.
So
So
it's
when is it going to be out? When is it going to be out?
We should get to about 9 songs and then we will put out the test. But
Ah.
I think it's just a matter of maybe 2-3 months. I mean, it can happen anytime.
beautiful.
Awesome.
So Monmi sing beautiful voice
Thank you.
and awesome. And I'm so happy that Motherjane is back. And when I was in college, it was 2011. I hope my microphone is on because let me
Yes, it is.
also.
Yes. I can hear
I can
you.
hear you.
Yeah, turn off the. Yeah. Okay. So when I was in college, it was 2011.
Right.
So my friend Ashish, he was into indie music at that time, and
Right.
I was like not so much in my explorer zone. So he called me and said that Mother Jane is performing in Bits Pilani. I
Yeah, I
said,
remember that gig. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
okay. So I said, okay, but the tickets are very expensive. And somehow in the evening, he called in the morning and you were performing in the evening. So somehow I got the tickets by the evening. And I thought, like, let's go, like, we are in college, we have all the time to attend the prof shows. And
Uh-huh.
I went to their Audi, and it was my first show, like professional show, which I was attending. Like before that, I have attended few gigs in Jaipur without audio engineers and proper sound system.
Right.
So we all were waiting. Everyone was sitting on the chairs because it was an Audi. And then the band entered, and everyone was on the chairs. Suraj sir was like all guitar riffs and this amazing voice songs. And I was listening to Mother Jane for the very first time. And I was so mesmerized by the sounds. And in that show, Baiju sir string also broke.
Okay.
And
I
but you
remember
guys
that.
completed the song. Yeah,
Okay.
after that you like, I think you changed the string or changed the guitar, but it was amazing show. And like my mind blowing, like I was so mesmerized by the sound and the songs and the whole aura. Your faces were half painted, and like, it was phenomenal.
Oh, see, that's one thing about the band. I mean, I'm so happy to be back playing with Baiju and Deepu and all because we have fun on stage. I think we are fans of each other, so that's a big difference. Like I just absolutely adore what Baiju does with the guitar. He's got such a unique sound, and many people will just say that, oh, he's doing the entire Carnatic sound. Even in the Carnatic sound, he's got his own sound.
True.
So there's something that is actually, again, that's what I'm saying. Baiju is not coming just from a space of technique, it's also coming from a place of honesty and expression. Yeah, he's not just saying that. It's not that. It's not that all the time. He is. Whenever he makes a solo for any one of the songs that I've written, I'll tell him that, listen, Baiju, this is what I'm thinking, and then he does a solo which he is exploring that emotion to its zenith. And that's why I just love his solos. And the second thing I love about his solos is that I can sing them. There are so many guitarists who will put 5 million notes in 1 second, and you just can't sing it in the end. It's got nothing relatable about it. It's not a melody that you can reproduce or something like that. So I love the fact that, while he does put a 5 million notes every once in a thing, but the general melody is very, very strong. So, I like the fact that Mother Jane has got a lot of melody in the songs, and it's got power as well. It's a nice combination of power and melody. Sometimes if you have only melody, only melody, only melody, it can become wimpier, at some point. So a little bit of power is always nice to sustain the whole thing and balance out stuff. Too much power, no melody, not interested. Too much melody, no power, not interested. My space is where you have both these elements and you say, wow, it's the salt that makes the sweet nice, and it's the sweet that makes the salt nice. It's that contrast, it's the play of emotions, it's the differences in scales, it's the differences in chords, whatever. All these, it's the freedom to explore something and come back. I think Mother Jane is the band for me. I mean, for me, after leaving them and rejoining them, I was like, wow, this feels so good.
Oh, this is like everyone felt it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we all see like bands like Mother Jane traveling a lot, touring a lot. So touring as a band seems exciting, but it
Right.
comes with its own set of challenges. Can you share
Of
your
course.
touring experience, the highs, the struggles, and the unexpected lessons you have learned from traveling and performing across the country?
Well, you get to see a lot of airports and hotel rooms. A lot of the time, what you consider to be touring is actually not touring. It's just a working man's. You walk into a place in the daytime. From the airport, sometimes you go straight to the venue, you do a sound check, and then you go to the room, you change, you come, you do the show. The next day in the morning, you're up and you're running back home. So, touring in India is unfortunately not at a level where you tour, do a show, spend a couple of days, and then go to the next city or next town. I think the most ideal situation would be the UK, US kind of model where you're not doing the entire country tour like that. You're actually going to one city, playing, traveling another 2 3 hours to the next town, playing, stay a few days, travel to the next town, play again. Right now in India, touring means that, oh, I'm doing an all India tour, which means that I'm doing one show in Bangalore, one show in Delhi, one show in Calcutta, one show in Chennai, one show in Bombay. Now, this is like doing a European tour where one show is in Great Britain, one is in France, one is in Germany, one is in Poland. I mean, it's a huge. India is not a country; it's a subcontinent. So I don't think our touring has developed to the degree that it should be. Right now, all of us are trying to do the big work, but before we do the big work, what really needs to be done is to make the small work happen. Every state should have a touring facility, because every state has so many people. It's not as if you start playing in Jaipur, you play to 10,000 people in Jaipur, and you go 3 hours away, there are no more people there to hear you. It's not like that.
Right.
You can do the entire Rajasthan and keep on doing it and never finish it, bro. If you actually take it, I remember looking at this figure in 2011. There were 50,000 colleges or something in India. Yeah, then we won't finish doing one college per this thing for our entire life. We are really not seeing the true potential of what exists in India.
True.
If we just go to all these colleges and play, schools and play, tech parks and play, residential places and play, we have so many people who will actually enjoy music, and they deserve to see live music.
Right.
They deserve to see live music. I'm going to say they deserve, because they really don't know what they're missing.
Exactly. It's absolutely true that there is this big gap between someone who have never watched a live show, and suddenly you have these big shows in only few cities,
Correct.
and you can only go and watch them, but you don't know like how exactly a live show is put up and what goes behind the scene. Like the sound vendor comes in, they will put up the sound setup, the artist will come, she'll do the sound check, and then people will come interact, and that musical interaction will go on. Like it's rare actually.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't know about it.
you should see something played live. It really is. That's where the artistry is at its peak. Just switching on tracks and doing some stuff is not a big deal. And you also should be able to see an artist who's got enough material to do a 1 hour show. Because nowadays the world is full of people who, there must be thousands and thousands of artists who can do a 10-minute set with a great degree of perfection. But then if you ask them to do a 12-minute set, then one of the 10-minute songs is going to come back. It's actually limited to maybe 2 songs. I can do 2 songs phenomenally well. But more than that, do you have enough material? No. So I don't think these people have yet realized their true potential. I think your true potential is when you actually go out there and open yourself up to possibilities. I mean, some people think that, okay, once you've made 10 songs, it's all over. That's all that you have in you. It's not like that. First, have a feeling of abundance. You should go with the feeling that, yes, there's thousands and thousands of songs all out there. All I have to do is just listen. I sincerely believe that I don't make up these songs. I just listen for them. I say, okay, that sounds good. I go with that. And like I said, if you keep yourself open to these things, and if you keep your mind open, your heart's open, music will happen to you.
Awesome. Ashita, please, with your next question.
Do, do you have any questions from the chat, Saurabh?
No, not now.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about the genre and how it's progressing. So I think we have been seeing historical sort of decline in the genre of rock as a genre. So I mean, it has been a sound of change, but it seems to have lost mainstream appeal, and we hardly see any rock acts charting, like even globally. We don't see any rock acts. We don't see big rock bands coming up. Like we have old bands, and then they are also kind of switching their sound to sort of fit into that pop culture
Right.
sound. So, what are your thoughts on the shift? Do you see potential for a rock resurgence in the near future, or do you
Of
think,
course, of course.
or is why do you think it's happening? Do people not have anything to fight for?
No, I think it's happening mostly because of convenience. Yeah. There is a great quote that may not be relevant in today's world, but it says that television is the lowest common denominator of human taste. What you see on
Yeah.
television is the lowest common denominator of human taste. If people finally do settle down to a lot of what is most convenient. So when you take a band that is doing rock and all, now you suddenly need 4 or 5 instruments. You need the drums that has to be, you know, provided for, tuned, sound check, stuff, etc., etc. So there's a lot of work involved in actually delivering a rock show at a certain
Mm-hmm.
level. Yeah. And now take the opposite of that, where somebody comes with tracks. Maybe it's hip hop. I mean, they have come from that culture where they will come with the track. Sometimes he's singing live, sometimes he's not singing live also. So then it's like Maggie noodles versus a 5-star course, a festival meal, whatever. So you can
Yeah.
eat Maggie noodles every day, and there's nothing wrong with it. I like Maggie noodles. You get what I'm saying? And so
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
if somebody said, "Hey man, let's do a show," okay, let's call a band, okay, but then we'll have to fly in 5 people. We have to accommodate 5 people. Then we have to do sound. We have to get all the tech riders finished. Oh my god, I don't understand. What do we do? Shall we call a DJ? Yeah, one person to fly in, one pen drive to come. We're sorted. No sound check. You understand? It's the convenience that is actually making the music change. I don't think it's the music itself that is causing the shift. I think it's the
Mm-hmm.
laziness that is causing the shift. And I will call it
And
laziness, but that's just because I'm in the rock band and I want, people to put that extra effort for me. But just think about people who were doing orchestras, full
yeah.
orchestras. They have lost out to rock bands at one point of time, and now rock bands are
Yeah.
losing out to the DJs. So it will always be there. I mean, so there's no point in complaining about it. But I do feel that every time you meet somebody or you find a band that will go out there and deliver something that is above your expectations, then you will continue to go for them. It is like finding that one great restaurant in town which makes great stuff. It's not just Maggie noodles every day. You can't go there every day because you can't afford it. They can't put it out at that rates every day. But every now and then you should eat a great meal in a great restaurant just to say that, man, I have tasted the epitome. I can eat Maggie noodles most of the time, but once in a while I have to treat myself. And that should be, I think, where this should go. So
So you're
treat
optimistic
yourself.
about the future for the
I'm
genre?
always
Like, what's
optimistic
the
about the future, and frankly, I don't care. I do it because I love doing it. I think my life would be terrible if I didn't have music in it. I think my life would be terrible if I wasn't writing music, composing music, and presenting music to people. So I am very, very grateful for whenever it is that you have decided that, okay, let me not eat Maggie noodles today. Today I'll go and listen to a full live band. I'm there. I'm happy that you've called me.
yeah? But I think you are someone who doesn't put themselves like put yourself in like a box of genre, right? So
No.
it's not like the genre is defining your music, right? It's
No.
it's what
So
you want to express as an artist.
yeah, so like I said, my thing, for example, like if Baiju and I actually largely sit together and compose most of the songs, I will come up with a lyric and I will come up with a vocal melody, and then he will do a lot of the arrangements of the music, what chords, stuff, etc. So each one is actually doing their own thing, and between us and Deepu, everybody, etc., we come across a sound that actually makes sense because, like I said, it's 5 of us actually having a conversation with each other. No? So all these elements fuse in together. And you have to be vulnerable when you're making music with your bandmates. That's a tough
Mhm.
thing. You're tough guys, you're a rock band, all that. But no, when you're making music, you have to actually put out your heart and say, listen, I've come up with this lick. Do you think you like it? And it is actually a moment where you're doing something where you don't know how it's going to be received.
Yeah.
And so it takes a
Yeah.
lot of courage to be vulnerable. And yeah, so you should get together and do it. And for us, like I remember the first time Baiju called me, and we had sung Broken once. We had done it in a certain way.
Mhm.
composed, done, song sounds great, etc., etc. And then one day he calls me and says, "You know what? Yesterday I had a jam. It's a very interesting jam." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Oh, there was this guy called, I think his name was Ivan. He was a French man or something like that. So he's a guitarist. Came down to Cochin. These guys had a jam. So very good guitarist. Paiju riffed. He riffed back. They were doing stuff, and they were both really matching up to each other. And then at some point, Baiju said, I didn't know what to do. So he says, I just did one of these Carnatic stuff. And he said, that guy was like, whoa, 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 what is that? I don't know what you're doing. And then Baiju said, okay, so I did a little more of that. And that guy was completely blown by it. So I said, oh, that's interesting. Then he says, I've done something for Broken now. And I said, okay, play it. And then he did that.
Oh.
Yes.
I said, wow.
Yes.
I said, this is interesting. And I said, Baiju, as far as I'm concerned, if you like it, go for it. Because see, the point really is that don't play to impress. Play to express. Don't create to impress. Create to express. So I said, if you're finding your expression, if you're able to actually do what your thing is, do it. If you are a guitarist who knows three chords and you can find expression in that, do that. Doesn't matter, but just do it with all your honesty and all your feelings. I said, if you like it, go for it. Don't even bother whether anybody has done it before or not done it before, etc. And man, he's taken it to an entirely different level because I think a lot of about our songs, our sound actually is in his hands. I mean, what he has done with the music, and it connects with so many Indians because we're like, oh bloody hell, man, yeah, that feels like
It
home,
does.
at
It does.
some level of it. And we are not really singing in any regional language, but you can tell us that we are a Indian band.
Yeah. And you own it, right? That sound, you own it. Like it's
Yeah,
sound where I come from, right?
yeah, yeah,
It's a matter of pride. It's a badge of honor. So people do own it.
absolutely, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Um,
So I don't do Carnatic riffs, and I mean I'll put small element to the degree that I feel I'm comfortable. Like
yeah.
I don't suddenly feel, oh, now I have this responsibility that I have to do that. No, I don't get into that space. I'm like, if I like it, I'll do it. If I don't like it, fuck it. I'm not bothered about it. So to the degree that I feel comfortable and I feel that okay, I'm still honest with it, I will do it. And where I feel it's required, otherwise it's not required. Why should I? Like I said, you have to express.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
degree that matters. That's the thing. That's the glue that makes a good band. Honesty.
Yeah, that seems so relevant. And we were talking about how music consumption has become like consuming fast food. So my next question is about that, how music industry has undergone significant changes in distribution and artist discovery. So what do you think how the songwriting has evolved and the ability to tell deep stories through music has changed? Do you think there's still a place for narrative driven songs in today's fast paced music consumption? Because what we see is on social media sometimes we just don't know who the artist is. We will just hear like a part of a song and we will keep hearing it, and
Yeah.
sometimes you just don't know who the artist is.
Yeah.
So what do you think how the songwriting has evolved, and if someone has to be true to their artistic vision, how do they keep doing that?
Well, whether it is, I think it's necessary that music should still have a story to tell and a deep emotion and something that you can reflect upon. Because sometimes, listen, you can be the artist that people listen to when they want to go out and date somebody. You can be the artist that people listen to when they want to go out and party. You can be one of the bands that maybe they want to sit in a room alone and reflect on life and listen to, or maybe you're an artist that makes them think about God and how wonderful the world is. Everybody has his function, and every artist will find their way into your lives because you are feeling a certain thing, and that music allows you to. It's like a trigger. Good art is like a trigger, really. you you're in the presence of great art sometimes, and you just say, "Wow, I know exactly the feeling that they're talking about, and how did they reach there?" I mean, sometimes it's so stunning to see somebody take a deep, painful way to reach there. Like, for example, like you're saying that, okay, can I put a block of plastic into a printer, 3D printer, and print a David? Yes, you can. Okay, and you'll get a David. But when you actually go and see a David that somebody took a block of marble and they found David in that, and they cut and chiseled and to that perfection, and any wrong move would have meant the end of that statue. At some level, we as human beings, when we see art that is at that scope and that much involvement and that much passion behind it, we feel that, wow, this guy has done so much work without ever being even sure that the end product is going to work. Could have made a mistake anytime and ruined the entire thing. So there is a
Yeah.
certain respect, a certain awe that happens in the viewer of great art when they say that, my God, somebody did so much without thinking of a reward. Somebody just poured
Mhm.
out their heart to this degree. Who feels that much, man? And you, for a second, you're tempted to think of your own life and to feel like that. Because, in my opinion, life doesn't mean anything. Life is actually meaningless. If you really analyze it, there's no meaning to the whole thing. Art, music, literature, these are the things with which we can inject meaning into our lives. So you take purposefully, you create beauty in your life. Now, if that isn't most important thing that I will say, then I have nothing else to say. The most important thing you can do in your life is to fill it with beauty. And you should pick it, choose it, craft it, enjoy it, and never let go for the rest of your life.
That's such a beautiful thing to say. I really believe that, by the way, sir, what you said, that life is all about filling it with beauty, art, and most beautiful things in your life that you can find and just fill it with. Saurabh, do you have anything
Yes, yes. We
from the chat?
have a question from Monmi. So she's asking, Ki, sir, when it comes to composing lyrical melodies, do you
Right.
think it's a natural talent, or once you listen to a lot of variation in music, it just comes to you?
Monami, I'm telling you, I don't even know you, but if you can ask a question as detailed as that, you can write a song.
So,
Seriously.
Monmi is my
Take.
girlfriend, by the way. And
Oh,
I
nice.
just
Okay.
introduced Motherjane to her when I told you that you are coming on the stream. And
Okay.
I sent her a few songs, and she was like into the music like already, and she's a big fan of music. She listens to a lot of music, and
Right.
she's very profound of art.
Okay.
She appreciate art like really well and
Okay.
expresses really well, and so that's where the question is coming from.
Yeah, so actually, like I said, it's the depth of the feeling itself that's the most important thing. The polish is, maybe you've read a little more books than normal, and therefore you have a better language and all. But there are so many songs which, I mean, look at Imagine. It's not a very complicated song. There's not a single word in that entire song that is beyond the comprehension of a seventh standard kid. But what a song it is lyrically! If you look at Imagine, you will go like, fuck, man, that is so beautiful. Imagine there's no countries, nothing to kill or die for. Oh, I mean, that's the thing. It does not really have to come from. Um, your art should not be a function or a derivative of your exposure. Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
should not be a derivative of your. It's not a subset of your exposure. It should be a subset of your feelings. I think that's the most important thing that you should always go for. Pick a feeling, pull it out of it. It'll come. If you're feeling it, you already have it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, we are already writing a couple of songs together.
Super.
I did not know about that.
Yeah, actually we
When
are.
are they coming out?
Hopefully soon, maybe 2-3 months.
Super.
Awesome.
If you ever want to finish and then ask me my opinions on this thing, I'll be very happy
Oh
to
my
just.
God, thank you so much.
Oh,
I will
wow.
definitely ask you now. I'm
But if
coming to
it's in Hindi and all, I can't help really.
No, no, no. It's in English.
Okay, if it's in English and you're, yeah, I'm very happy to just give you whatever inputs I have on the same
Definitely.
thing.
I'm going to come to you. Like, I'm going to disturb you now.
Done, no problem. It's not a disturbance.
Shadavi, you can proceed.
Saurabh, do you want to take a pause and like do that activity
Yeah,
now?
we can do
Or
that. We can actually do that.
yeah. I mean, it will be a
That's
good sort of pause.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
sure.
can. So Monmi is saying, "Oh, honored, sir." Like, thank you. Okay, so before we start the quiz, I'll get myself on the screen. No, 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 no. I'll just explain what it is. But before that, I'll start this. Oh, no, 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 no. Just give me a minute. I'll just explain what the quiz is. And I'll just share the. No, no, no. Yeah, yeah, I have.
The beauty of the thing is to let it happen.
Okay.
Really, it's like I'm not I'm not worried about the fact that I might look stupid or otherwise. So then I'm free.
Okay. So I'll
So
I'll just
just
explain the quiz what it is. So
yeah.
I'll just give you a sentence, and the sentence will have two parts. The first
Oh.
part will have the literal meaning of the band which I'm
Hmm.
talking about, and the second part will kind of define their music. So
Okay.
you mainly have to focus on the first part, the literal meaning. Okay.
Okay.
So I hope the first question will kind of explain it, the answer will explain it, and then we can move further. But you can
Okay.
try on the first question. Like the answer is a band name. It-
Okay.
all the bands will be very famous bands.
Metallica.
Whoa, awesome. Yes, it's Metallica, a band forged in the pure essence of metal, known for shaping the sound of heavy music. It's Metallica. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
What does even pure essence of metal mean?
I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
Master of Puppets.
God.
Okay, so shall we move further?
Yes, go for it.
Okay.
I've already answered one properly, so don't lose that.
Yes. Named after a brutal medieval torture device, this band brings metal with intensity and precision.
Bloody hell. Why do I think I know this?
Named after a brutal medieval torture device.
Is it Iron Maiden?
Yes, it's
It
Iron
is.
Maiden.
Oh, wow. What is the Iron Maiden? It's a torture device?
Yeah, you keep the person inside this and you close it, this whole
Oh my
box, and
God.
it has those iron
Spikes,
yes,
whatever.
spikes in it. Yeah.
But this is one amazing thing about Iron Maiden. They have such intense imagery and stuff and all, and the guys are so chill. They are absolutely such a chill band. They don't look as if they are good. They look like a bunch of English lads who will happily sit and drink a beer together and have a good time, watch play football types of stuff. So the imagery sometimes is so starkly different from what they really are as people. Yeah.
So, have you ever met Iron Maiden?
I mean, when they came to Bangalore and played, yes, I saw them. But I
Oh,
was standing in the crowd, and I remember there was a guy behind me called Jack. He used to play with Cryptos at that time.
oh,
So, so he said, Suraj. I said, what? I turned back, and he's got tears coming down his eyes. He said, Blow, this is happening in front of us. I said, yeah, man. It was such an honor to see them, really.
seriously. Okay, let's move
We
to.
used to see all these old videos of them performing in Bangalore, and we used to be so envious. Like, how come we missed all of that?
I
Yeah.
was there. I was
Yeah.
there.
Okay. To the next question. A clever wordplay on a buzzing insect in the musical beat, symbolizing the rhythm-driven sound.
You're actually going to get me humped. You look for clever word and a buzzing insect.
A buzzing insect.
Mosquito. Wait.
Close, close.
Something. I'm thinking. I'm thinking. Wait.
Beetles.
Yeah, the Beatles.
Yes.
The
Okay.
Beatles, exactly. That's how
Wow.
your music journey started.
Yes, it is actually. What melodies these guys. The most beautiful thing about a Beatles song is that you can play it with the simplest of chords and you can actually layer it in so many ways. And they did do that layering, really. So if you're a common listener, you can be very happy without really knowing the theory behind it. But if you're a good musician also, you can actually peer in awe at some of the stuff
Exactly.
that they did,
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. And the universality, like
Yeah.
how universal the emotions they bring out, right? And the
Simple.
simplicity
Some
of
some
lyrics
people
and
will say Beatles is such simple music, and they're right. And some people will say
yeah,
Beatles is such complex music, and they're also right. The
exactly.
the
Yes.
ultimate sophistication is simplicity.
I
Yeah.
love their harmonies and the
Oh,
kind of movements they use in
Oh,
the song. Awesome.
it's just a different level of it. Yeah.
seriously.
Okay, to the next question. Okay, this should be interesting. A contradiction in
Uh,
itself.
Led Zeppelin.
Oh, awesome.
Eh,
Led
I have Led
Zeppelin.
Zeppelin.
Yes, Led Zeppelin. Okay, awesome. To the next question, we have a contrast between violence and beauty. This is very important. It's in the name of the band, Violence and Beauty, perfectly capturing the band's aggressive yet melodic rock.
You
Something which
picked all metal bands, is it?
no, rock, metal, all like similar genres. Punk will also be there. So
Okay.
bands which have
Is it
drums.
like Guns N' Roses?
Yes, it's Guns N'
Yeah,
Roses.
not bad.
I
Absolutely.
was thinking Bullet for a Valentine or like Guns N'
Oh
Roses.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. Next is this should be easy. Named after fiery, spicy flavors, this band delivers a mix of funk, punk, and rock that's just as intense.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, exactly. Red Hot
Yes.
Chili Peppers. Awesome. Next one is very easy. A Buddhist term for ultimate enlightenment. Fitting for
Nirvana.
the band. Nirvana.
Nirvana.
Yes. Nirvana it is. Okay. Now the difficult part for me. I was asking Ashita Dik how to pronounce grandeur. A name
Queen.
that commands royalty. Grandeur.
Queen.
Queen. Oh. So I have made the quiz very easy actually. Okay. Next one should be a bit difficult. I don't know. A slang term for spending an entire day getting high. Fitting for a punk band with rebellious energy.
Really? Green Day?
Yes, Green Day. Green Day. And
That's what it means? I did not know that.
me too. Okay. A nurturing force of creativity, blending rock with Indian classical and progressive sounds to create timeless music.
You bloody you flatterer, you sort of Mother Jane.
Motherjane! Yes, absolutely.
The one and only Motherjane.
Yes. Awesome. So that was it. The quiz is over.
Super.
We can move further. How was it? How was the quiz? How was
That
it?
was fun. It was actually fun. Like I said, I'm glad we didn't prepare for it.
But I knew like when the stream started, I knew like this is going to be a fun quiz. Okay, so it was really fun. And
He was actually thinking a lot about, what should I put in? Should I put like memes? Should I, have this fun quiz? So he
Ah.
was thinking about how to make it
Saurabh, I'll have to
accessible,
actually leave in
also
another
fun.
10 minutes. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, that
Yeah.
would be fine.
Okay.
Awesome, awesome. No worries in that. So I think we can have one more question in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything from the chat?
No, no, Monmi just enjoyed the quiz, but no question.
Okay, so this is something that I think Saurabh asks in all of his streams usually. So many of our viewers are aspiring musicians eager to make a living through their
Right.
art.
Right.
Given that much of the money is still in film music, what advice do you have the independent artists looking to build sustainable careers? How can we shift towards a more artist driven economy in our country, and what different avenues can artists explore to achieve commercial success?
Truthfully, you have to think of it as a business. If you're actually looking at it to make commercial success, it has to be a business. You have to have a product that costs less than what you sell it at. And if that means that you will take a lower pay to be able to do the kind of music that you want, then so be it. But if you have a certain pay that you expect and it does not have a demand, then you have a problem which is simple business again. So sometimes, if you're an artist and you're driven by that, oh, I want to put out this kind of music and therefore I'm not compromising on that, then some of the times you might actually have to let the finances take a backseat and say that, okay, I can't be a software engineer who's getting, 5 lakhs a month, but maybe I can be a hardware engineer who's getting maybe 50,000 a month, but I will work with my hands and, I will make stuff like that. So it just has to be a decision. If the money is more important to you, I would suggest just go to get a daytime job and do that. Because I doubt if there are many people who are coming into the music industry saying that, oh, the money is the most important thing. I think if that's what you're doing, you're actually in the wrong place. Yeah, the
Mhm.
music world, the creative world is full of people who are driven by passion, which means that that entire combination of people may or may not make money together. Just
Right.
imagine IBM filled with a lot of musicians who are all thinking about beauty, world peace, and hunger, this, that, etc. They may not really do anything together at all. So you take an industry which is full of people like you and me who are actually thinking about our emotions, stuff, etc., etc. There's an even chance that 70% of these people will never make any money. Don't feel bad because even in businesses, there are a lot of businesses which do not make money. They eventually close down. But they do understand that they're businesses. And that's why they survive a little more than the musicians. If the musicians and artists start understanding that they are in a business, they have to make it, think of it as a business, and they have to make it sustainable, like I said, by delivering a product which earns more than what they spend to make it work. I think that's where your sustainability lies.
I think that's kind of reality. I mean, it's true. Like when you are in an industry where passionate people are there, it's really difficult to make it very commercial and make money out of it.
It can happen. Sometimes the stars will align, and when they align, it aligns perfectly, and the reward is fantastic. So I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying that understand what's most important to you first. Put that in the see. Okay, there's something that I tell. I run a business. I run an air conditioning company. I've been doing that for the last 30 years. I'm an engineer. So there's something that I tell my people in the office. I say that there are three things that are very important. One is the goals that we are setting out to achieve as a company, and that's the most important thing. Then come group needs, which means that infrastructure needed for everybody. Everybody needs a salary, everybody needs a certain standard of living, etc., etc., etc. And then comes individual needs, where you're getting your rewards accordingly. And I say then it's in this order of importance that you actually have to actually put things together. If this order is upset, you don't have a sustainable model. If you put an individual above the group, if you put in a group needs above the goals, there's nothing sustainable about the whole thing. The most important thing, even as a musician in the same context, is that when you're a band, you realize that, okay, the most important thing is that we will put out music that we feel and believe in. Yeah, you have to put out the music,
Exactly.
right? That has to happen. Then, through whatever we earn, we should be all able to make a living and manage our bills, etc., etc. Then we will reward individuals based on how much they contribute, etc. I think that is an important way to look at it. If you start, there was a point of time when our Indian cricket team had some stars who would always get 100, but the team would still lose the match. You know, great batting averages, few stars, but the team kept losing. That's not sustainable. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
That should not happen in
Yeah.
music either. You don't want to have somebody always being a star. So you have to pull for each other. You have to make sure that whatever you want to achieve together is first achieved. Then everybody has something out of it, and then you say, okay, we've all won. Now let us give some special attention to X, Y, Z, or whatever. That's fine. That's the last thing in the list.
And I think the difficult situation is like as a musician, most of us we don't think it as a business, or if we want to do it full time, we just try to think like we will do it passionately, things will come, things will change, but we don't do it like in a business sense. Like as you are saying, like if we want to do it full time, we have to make sure that we are also doing it in a way that we can manage it as a business along with the art.
If you wanted to make commercial sense, these are the things you have to do. If it doesn't have to make commercial sense, then there's no problem. The question is actually irrelevant. If you're doing it for the sake of actually doing and pursuing a passion, and there's nothing wrong in that. I believe that in Japan, there is a culture that everybody will spend up to maybe 20% of their salaries just to pursue perfection in one of their chosen passions. Somebody might be doing weaving, somebody might be doing sword making, somebody might be doing calligraphy, whatever it is. They'll spend 20% of their salaries just to achieve perfection in some art form that they like. I think it's a great thing to do.
It's a very cultural thing. I mean, infusing this, it's like very difficult.
Yeah. So we also wanted to like just, with your experience, if you can guide our audience in terms of sort of opening their minds to different avenues that they can explore. So like you have a band act, and then you have your solo thing, and then you might be involved with other projects as well. So what are the different avenues that they can look for? So I mean, pretty sure there are a lot of musicians who are doing film scoring and like other things along with their main acts. So
Work is work, okay? You can pick up, if you actually have to make a living out of it, pick up all kinds of work. But I'll tell you three things that I heard. Some guy gave so I don't remember who gave that speech, but he said three things that are very important for an artist to actually make a living. He said one is that your quality of work has to be good. Second, he says that your commitments have to be met. And third, he said, you have to be easy to deal with. People should like dealing with you. And he said, if you have all three, then you will always have work. He said, if you have two out of three, that is, your quality is good and you're nice to work with, but you don't keep your commitment, you have a living. You won't be the greatest. You won't have a thriving business, but you make it. Or maybe your quality is great, you keep your commitments, but you're an asshole. Again, you will have work, but you won't really thrive. So it's the
yeah.
three. You should be easy to work with, you should have quality, and you should keep your commitments. And if you can do these three things and make it absolutely imperative, I mean, groundstone reality is that you will deliver on these three things, then you can get work anywhere.
Yeah.
Awesome. I guess like we have to like change the perspective and like look at that way. Okay, so Suraj sir, you have to leave, but before that, there's one thing. My father, he's saying we are glad to see Suraj Mani with you after a long time, and he's asking that if you have any plans or any upcoming program in Jaipur, like any announcement you want to.
Namaste, uncle. I actually called Saurabh 2-3 days back, and I said that we're doing a gig in Delhi in Piano
29th
Man on the
March.
29th of March.
Yes.
I said if you can organize some gig in Jaipur, we would be very very happy to come down and do a
And
performance.
this is about Motherjane.
This is about Motherjane.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, he's talking about me coming as a solo guy and doing something.
Yes.
I would be happy to do that anytime. I mean, as a single person, it's not very difficult to.
But I'll try my best to like put up a Motherjane show. It would be amazing.
Yes, we should definitely do that.
And one more comment, and then we'll wrap it up. Monmi is saying, enjoyed this stream so much. Kudos to Saurabh and Ishita for making it so streamlined. Thank you, Suraj Mani sir, for sharing your stories, wisdom, and we look forward to sharing our songs with you soon.
I'm looking forward to meeting you too.
Definitely. Oh, that was awesome. That was amazing, beautiful stream. I loved every bit of it. I mean, whenever I do stream with people like you, who have like done so much in the industry and who have like so much of experience, it's very insightful. And thank you so much for coming. I'm so grateful that you are here, and I'm still a bit in that zone. Oh, this is happening.
I'm very happy to be here too. It was really fun.
Thank you, sir. Ishita, you
Bye, Ishita. Lovely meeting
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We are
Thank
still
you,
in
sir.
awe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
so
Bye bye,
much.
sir. Good night. Awesome. So we have ended the session and it was amazing, but we are still live. So Ashita, how was it?
I completely forgot that we're still live.
Yes, we are live. So
Oh my God.
yes.
I'm feeling so hot
it's
because of all the
happened.
anxiety.
Like स्टार्टिंग में मैं जैकेट वैकेट पहन के बैठा था और मैंने आज डोर इसलिए खोला था क्योंकि थोड़ा नेटवर्क का इशू था, इसलिए आज हॉर्न वगैरह आ रहे थे, बीच बीच में म्यूट कर रहा था, बट इट वाज अमेजिंग. सो thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you Daddy, thank you Monmi, thank you Nayan, thank you Nanu, for all the comments. And let's end this stream first and